So this is the Openstack next step session. So basically, the session is about getting Folsom working on Quantal. So I divided up the etherpads to what we should be doing, what I think we should be doing. Basically, in Precise, we have Nova Client, Swift, Keystone, Horizon, and Quantum. Quantum is still in the universe, and Quantal will be promoted to main because it's part of the core project now. So there's a bunch of different things we have to do. So I want to start off with Nova. Basically, for Quantal will be Folsom, for Precise will be Essex SRU, and we'll be offering Folsom in the Ubuntu archive.
What do you call it?
Ubuntu Cloud Archive.
So the Folsom release date is September 27, and from what I've seen of the release, from what I've seen from the release plan for Quantal, that's beta 2.
So we're also going to move the configuration file from G-flags to i9. So since pretty much everyone else is using it now, we can start using it. One thing we have to be aware about is converting the configuration file. I think we should offer maybe a tool in packaging that will convert the config file.
Should you do this as part of the upgrade?
Yes.
I think we do need to still keep the original though, as a reference, because I don't think we can entirely expect conversion to just work.
Sure.
It's probably about the simplest config file conversion that there ever existed.
So you think it's 100% error-free?
Just removing dash and adding what default time?
Yeah.
If that, does it?
You add a default header, and then you remove all the dashes at the beginning of the line.
We can look how Fedora does it as well.
And they didn't have to convert. I don't think they had
No, they
any other comment about that? Do may include import for libguestfs. Basically, if you don't have the MDB module loaded, then the instance building will fail, since it will just try to fall through. So if we add libguest support, then we can get the instance working better. Improve XC port support. Basically, in Precise, we added XC support by merging stuff with Debian. We haven't really tested that. I haven't really tested that.
What's the status of XCP in Ubuntu right now?
It supposedly works. Stuff from this week, HA support. It probably have to be done in the Juju terms. Packaging Cinder.
Cinder should be around Folsom 2, which is in the middle of the cycle. So,
Okay.
Sorry, when's this?
Cinder should arrive by Folsom 2, which is end of June.
Review upstart jobs.
Start of July.
Basically, I want to use start, stop daemon, and upstart jobs. Basically, if you do su exec and Nova, it will leave Nova with the login shell open. This is according to Colin Watson.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we're going to switch that out.
To what?
Start, stop daemon.
From Upstart?
Yeah, Quantum already does it.
Opening a sub rather than opening a shell, using stop daemon as a hack directly. No, sorry, you don't mean an upstart, you mean hosting instead.
No, I'm sorry.
but it's not, I don't know, to start-stop daemon requires a daemon process.
So
None of the services
what is the,
daemonize.
sorry, what's the problem we're trying to solve?
Basically, when the upstart job was the Nova shell, Nova users log in,
I know.
and Gordon Colin Watson, that's bad
Why?
because I don't remember.
I mean, yeah, it's bad, but we want Upstart to eventually support changing to a different user. But
Right.
until it does, I mean, that's how everyone does it. So why does OpenStack need to be different?
Well, let's not waste time on this now. Let's raise a bug and put the chat
Sure.
logs in there, and then we'll have information to follow through. It's not something we need to solve now, is it?
Sure. API SSL support. This is an ongoing thing.
Is upstream landed that, guys?
No, it got rejected again. Ceph support for de novo volumes.
Can we clarify that in the blueprint so that it's said Ceph RBD support for Cinder?
Sure. Go ahead. Are you?
I'm not in all the prepared. Thanks for.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Right. So
Actually, that was the line above. That
Yeah.
Here in Lance, it was in
so any other stuff people want to see in Nova?
SSL for libvirt. We're doing migration.
Okay.
That's configuration of the verb.
Yeah, but we don't generally. I mean, basically make it so. Is it a packaging job or a juju?
It's more a deliberate job, I think.
No, but is it a packaging issue or a
Packet. It's more of a juju issue.
setting up SSL certificates for doing migrations between one machine to the next? Not live migrations, instance migration, not database.
I mean, if it's a Juju thing, I don't particularly care, but I just wonder, why do you want to use SSL instead of SSH?
SSL is faster, right? I thought SSH was significantly slower. I thought using the TLS X509 was the recommended way to do it.
Well, maybe by Red Hat, because they already have a PKI solution, but we don't. So we've always used SSH for the stuff in Ubuntu. That's always served us quite well, I thought.
Okay, well,
Maybe.
that's something to investigate further. Right?
Either way, it's not anything that we can handle packaging, I don't think, is it?
Well, no, because it's basically got a dependency on a foreign service, right? I mean, how would you exchange keys? I mean, it's that's one of the reasons you'd use an orchestration tool, right?
Sure. I just know that when I'm going to do this with Puppet, I'm going to use SSH. I'm not going to deal with the PKI solution. No point.
Any other comments? No? Alright, so moving on to Glance. Quantal will be Folsom, Precise will be Essex, and Folsom in the Cloud Archive again. Again, review upstart job, Ceph integration, possibly include Python syn files this release. Supposedly it's faster or it's supposed to be better with Glance. I'm not exactly sure. I have to do more research. And include Python Glance clients.
I mean, is Python send file, is that something that it uses if it's around?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not specifically in the depends on for Glance.
oh, okay.
So in addition to Cinder, you will have Python Cinder client as well, package.
Okay.
They should be separate.
There's also a couple new dependencies in Glance that needs to be packaged as well. It's more for JSON tests. which I have packaged and it's being uploaded, sitting in file review, needs to be reviewed, and self-support. Any other comments or? Also Glenn's style support as well.
We didn't have a session about doing glassandbudge.com this time, did we?
There is one.
Yeah, I don't think there's a session.
Push to the cloud. Something about push to the cloud is the name of the session. Maybe you didn't.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It looks like
Ben has something.
When is it?
Sure.
If you want to have Brian present. Check his one.
No one has any comments? Brian, do you have any?
I can barely hear what you guys are saying, but
All right. So next is Keystone, Folsom for Quantal, Precise for as accessory and Cloud Archive. I don't have much here. Review upside jobs, review depths.
Django 1.4.
Excuse me?
Horizon will require Django 1.4.
Yeah, well, 1.4's been out long enough. Quantal will be getting 1.4. It's currently 1.3.
Also about backporting Django 1.4 for Precise.
Yeah, that will be. We'll discuss like backporting stuff and Cloud Archive stuff.
Yeah, not for Essex though, right?
No, but for the cloud archive.
Yeah, that's a separate.
Yeah.
Were there anything major changing in the Horizon authentication for Folsom?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, because I wasn't aware of anything special before.
So next is Swift. Again, the only major change is package Openstack Nova knows. Basically, it's disabled when we run the test suite in the packaging. It requires Openstack Nova knows, and it's currently disabled because it's not packaged in Precise yet.
We'll have the Python Swift client package separate.
And you just start doing large object testing, which has not been the case before this point.
We have to do a lot more Swift testing, which is another session. And finally, for the major parts, Quantum, it's going to be promoted to main, so we have to improve packaging, doing the main reclusion reports, making sure it works, and do GG harms.
There is a little bit more than this linked to other blueprints. There is a blueprint on OpenFlow controller.
Yeah.
We need to select which one we want to include.
Yeah.
There might be some work needed for OpenVSwitch, which is, I've been told, broken current Ubuntu.
It's broken now.
To be investigated.
Okay.
Some people have told me, oh, I've tried to deploy it and it doesn't work out as well.
So send the bug numbers our way and fix it.
So I have some other stuff that needs to be done. If you scroll down to the bottom, possibly package OpenStack client. There'll probably be booted into Universe, unless if it also changes.
Needs to make some. I mean, if it's not finished yet.
Yeah.
It's not finished.
Well, it started 1 week ago. So. That's the common OpenStack client. Right?
7 days.
Yeah, that's there.
So Cinder is going to be incubated this cycle?
No, it's going to be core.
Really?
If it reaches feature parity with Nova volume.
And when's that going to be called?
Sorry?
When is that going to be called? As in...
No, you mean the client?
Cinder.
Cinder. No, Cinder is the project split from a core project, so it will inherit the core status if it reaches feature parity by the middle of the cycle, which is Folsom 2.
Folsom 2. Can that be captured? Awesome.
No, let's not talk about those.
So some other stuff we have to do is manual inclusion report for Open vSwitch, fix Open vSwitch. Package Cinder, finish off ARM support, contribute more code back up to upstream. In my opinion.
On the ARM support, there was the LXC on ARM. There was the Openstack on ARM yesterday.
Yeah.
But there's something that wasn't there, which is we've got a KVM implementation for our hardware. And so I was wondering if that could get inserted. We've just about finished.
It doesn't rely on a new ARM architecture.
You know, it's using a hypervisor shim, which means
Martin, you put a bit of speaking up.
I'm sorry. It's using a hypervisor. It's a shim that we put into place, and so you can get a DOM-U that is a generic kernel as opposed to trying to run something.
DOM-U KVM.
No, KVM shim is running as essentially a call inside something known as trust zone. And so you can go back in there and it does the hardware abstraction. It works.
That's what's in
We tested it, so it's okay. But it means that you can now run a genericized kernel.
Okay, can you add to the document where we can read more about that?
Yeah, it'll be up all on the Ansible site. So I'll just make sure to put that on there. It's not this site, but okay. Well, I can live with that.
There's some LXC bug fixes I want to do. How far is meeting building support go?
Do you mean Telemeter?
Yeah.
The project is just started.
Okay.
We can plan to watch how it's going and plan on packaging it.
Is it going to be?
It will be an incubated project for the cycle.
Is it
at
going?
best.
Is it going to be? Is it packaged like Cinder or like totally separate out from?
So we hope that code development will start in June, and we should have first code drops somewhere around July, August.
All right. Well, can you reverse that? First code drops. There's some other.
It's not, please remove billing. It's metering, only metering. And the project name is Telemeter, which is a device that you use to measure the cloud coverage.
There's some other stuff there. Public LAN server. Scott's very interested in that.
Sounds cool.
Config drive support.
Just before we go on, Scott, why do we care about config drive?
Some people care about config drive.
Why do some people care about config drive?
Because apparently some people can't run DHCP servers. Were you just looking for a troll? Were you trolling?
I was.
I mean, this is like hours of conversation.
Something we started in Precise is merging Debian packaging changes back into ours. I want that to continue.
We probably need to do a better job than what we did. Whilst there were spouts of very good communication, I think we probably could have done a better job when we were at peak of.
Could you explain how it went? Because the only thing I noticed is that the OpenStack PPA packaging is no longer in the loop, and if it needs to be just abandoned, maybe we used to have a packaging branch and derive the packaging from it, but now with the Debian packaging in the loop, it's like coming in different directions. Could you explain how do you merge changes from one to another?
So rather than explain it, is it well enough described in that blog post?
Debian packaging?
No, our packaging, how
we're doing internally at Ubuntu, but it doesn't describe how we're interacting with their PPAs.
No, I think Terry was going on a slightly different thread there, won't we?
Well, you said that you were pushing back to Debian the changes and
No, Debian pushing changes, yeah.
Debian takes your changes?
No, it's the other way. Chuck has merged bits and pieces of certain packages into certain packages in Ubuntu. I'd like to see there be better collaboration
And
there.
they've basically been emailing us and say, hey, here's this patch. So,
Because they use Git.
yeah, so I think we could generally do a better job at improving relations. No one here's from Debian, not they?
No one hears what?
No one here is from Debian Openstack team.
Most of it is based in France and Italy or nothing.
Or Spain.
Oh, Shanghai.
Anyway,
So what are we doing now? Are we
Hong Kong
going
or
to
whatever.
try to sync
China.
with them so that our packaging branches are the same and we can start doing work with them first? Is that a priority?
there seem to be reasonable sort of mutual collaboration, with perhaps changes landing slightly earlier in Ubuntu,
But it doesn't look like there's collaboration at all. Their whole approach to doing Nova Compute is completely different than ours.
Well, they decided to support XCP better than we do.
Right, so that's a pain point in terms of integration.
Is there any reason we can't integrate that?
Well, XCP is already integrated.
Is what?
Next XCP support they already did is already integrated in our packaging.
So, no.
Yeah, there was an announcement from Debian which was all around XCP support.
They're not centering their compute packages around it. Where like we have Nova Compute -XCP, but as far as I know, it does not do anything.
It doesn't work.
So is there any value for the OpenStack PPA anymore? And if yes, is there any value in having separate packaging branches?
So one of the
Packaging branches. Do we really need?
Time to go home.
Well, the thing is, I mean, occasionally, and this has happened before, Ubuntu wants to carry certain patches that are not upstream. So, for instance, the console log thing, it would seem kind of strange if a patch that was essentially rejected upstream still was in the packages that we had in the upstream PPA.
It's not an upstream PPA. As we said, it's convenience PPA.
Then we need to relabel it. It's called Openstack PPA, and
It's like Folsom for people that are on 1204.
yeah. Then it should be more like I think we should label it more clearly then, that it's not an upstream thing, that it's more of an Ubuntu sort of continuous integration sort of thing.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
as it is, it looks very much like it's supposed to be considered, an upstream thing. And if it is, then it doesn't seem appropriate to have
With the owner,
patches in it that Ubuntu wants, but upstream apparently doesn't.
the OpenStack project.
Sorry, what's the question?
The OpenStack PPA maintainers team. It's not an OpenStack project.
No, there's some overlap, but it's
So it's not labeled as being as part of the OpenStack.
No longer.
called Openstack PPA. It's referenced from the Openstack wiki many places.
Well,
I mean,
it's not an official delivery from OpenStack, and
But
it's broken most
that-
of the time. So
you know that, I know that, and everyone listening in knows that, but it's not very obvious that that's the case. And we just need to make that more obvious, and then it's fine. I'm just saying that, I mean, it's not complicated, it's just, because there are details that are
the
not
value of
entirely
the PPA
straightforward.
is to developers that don't run Ubuntu +1 and want to still have daily packages of the development tools.
So that's going to
It's
change
covered.
this cycle with the introduction of the Cloud Archive, and we're going to be testing and pumping out PPAs for Folsom
But
precise.
that will still be the milestone.
So that works until Quantal is out, where we will still basically the OpenStack PPA fill the void that you guys.
the Cloud Archive is to close that void, right?
Well, but only on
the
LTS. Whereas if you want to enable developers to run on Quantal,
Oh, I see what you
you
mean.
will have the problem again, and it will be needed again. So there is some value there. Should we really use packaging that is different from Ubuntu upstream for that? not convinced it's worth the hassle of maintaining separate
I,
branches.
I would suggest.
I'm not saying it is, okay. Yeah.
I would suggest for the next 2 years that people should use Quantal as a base.
What's it?
Sorry, precise as a base.
Precise, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Developers will not run precise. Correct.
Or may not.
Or how?
Unlikely to.
I would. Kind of have to.
Well, then maybe we should look at adding Quantal support to DevStack. Because that's the tool that developers use.
Well, it's just that I don't want us to maintain a separate packaging branch that does not get automatically updated, and I don't want to force you to update it just because we maintain it. So if it's just about branding, making sure that the Openstack PPA is actually just covering the stuff that Ubuntu doesn't cover, but applies the same packaging, and is not like a reflection of pure upstream version of Ubuntu packaging. It's an opinionated packaging anyway. I mean, it's not Openstack blessed in any way.
No.
But it's confusing for anyone using it and people who aren't as closely attached to the project as we are, because we're getting weekly bug reports coming in targeting Ubuntu generated,
And I think
people
if
using
we-
that PPA and
And if we use the same packaging, the bug reports would not be that inappropriate.
right.
So it could actually provide some interesting insights.
So I'm not opposed to collaborating more with you guys and keeping that more in sync, minus the Ubuntu specific things if that's what you want, or
Well,
because originally in previous times it was like we were trying to keep our branches in line with that, and so that we were driving from there, but then there's split on you guys end.
we, as in me and Sean and Monty, are not putting so much effort into maintaining that PBA. So if we cannot put available effort in maintaining it, we should rely on you guys rather than inventing the work just so that we carry exactly the same amount of flashes. So well, you could just not in action. We can discuss that later. Either align the PPA packaging with the Ubuntu packaging, or have some kind of procedure to clean up the Ubuntu packaging from extra patches that really necessary.
So that's pretty much all on my list. I just want to open up the floor for like general discussion and stuff that I might have missed.
So I have a question regarding Quantal. How are the plugins going to be delivered? As separate packages or as part of the Quantal package?
Do you mean upstream?
Part of the
Upstream.
tarball or not?
Tarball.
I think for now they're supposed to be in the same tarball.
Yeah, they're in the tarball. They're in the tarball right now.
So what
There is talk
are
about splitting them out, but it's not on the table right now.
And from our side, should we keep it the same way, have a single package Quantal?
Yeah.
You should have, you should have obviously
the way the
different
package
binary
works-
packages for
Yeah.
Single source
I
package.
mean, a single tarball that splits. And if it ends up being separate tarballs, then you just have to update.
Yeah, it's single source package with
Dev
plugins
source.
are in their own binary package.
Yeah, I mean DevSource 3 supports multiple tarballs anyway, so that's not an issue anymore.
No, yes, it's an issue because we may want to consider to put some plugin in main and some plugin out of main.
Well, we can
No.
put
You can
put
still
binaries
do that
in main
with
and
binary
binaries in universe as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying no, but if we just have one package that contains all the plugin, we can't.
I'm pretty sure there would be separate binary packages, so we can specify different
You can have the source package in
different
main.
dependencies.
I agree, I don't disagree.
One thing which interests me is Swift.
I'm a fan of
The
Swift.
release cycle of Swift is somewhat frustrating.
Swifty.
Yeah, and it's upsetting. So what is
So what's the most upsetting part? Is it
Well, the
that
fact
they
that
don't
we were
align
told that
to
one
the
would-
same milestones, or the fact that they don't respect the feature freeze at the end?
both? I mean, the fact that we were told 1.47 should actually work with Essex Final, and it turns out it does not. So we had to squeeze in a minor upstream version very late into the cycle.
So I don't think we'll fix the fact that they don't announce a lot in advance what the features will be and when they're.
Is it an Openstack project or is it a Rackspace project?
It's both. But there are talks about having them create their releases separately from the OpenStack release branch. So they would basically tag a few. They would tag the internal releases that they do, and we would just for every milestone get the latest tag from Swift and release that as the milestone for OpenStack, which gives us. Sorry?
Sounds kind of crappy, doesn't it?
No, it's actually pretty close to what we would do for the other project. They would work on a branch. They would do their internal release and versioning on their branch, but they would propose for a release on OpenStack only during merge windows, and we would just carry the latest blessed points in their, and then we can have some control on feature freeze. That is, we wouldn't just take. They could release new stuff, but we wouldn't take it at the end. So we basically separate their release, their own release needs with the OpenStack release needs. And if we manage to do that, we might just solve most of the issues. They would still have like be a bit unpredictable and not necessarily communicate well on the features that they work on. But from a release standpoint, might fix it. It's not a done thing. We have been fighting with them during the design summit on it. So, but I hope we'll be able to switch to that model during the Folsom cycle and early enough so that it doesn't hit you at the end.
Do you know what was broken?
It was the Swift. So Lance using Swift backend. There was an API compatibility between 1.47 and 1.48.
Wasn't the tenant name?
It was I forgot it. In the Swift client specifying the auth version to it was just a primary so what we did in that.
The reason I'm asking is most of the compatibility related stuff is not going to be in core Swift anymore.
Isn't going to be what?
In Swift. So like the auth middleware, so how it talks to Keystone, doing the S3 stuff is not going to be in this core Swift project. They're going to be external projects. So I think the potential for where all those breakages are going to happen are not actually in Swift core. So
that's moving forward.
Yeah.
What are those separate projects?
They're just going to be separate third party, like S3 middleware is going to be its own thing. Everything's going to be out of Swift core.
Are they still going to be managed by the OpenStack project, though? Or are they going to be?
Doubtful.
So we have.
Unless someone wants to take them over.
So we have no control over them whatsoever anymore.
Awesome.
That's fascinating.
I think it's the responsibility of anybody who wants to own them can. Swift core doesn't want them, so.
Swift core is what?
Swift core does not want them. So Swift core doesn't want to be managing the S3 middleware, for example. So anybody who wants to take that and manage it, so we can take it as part of OpenStack and say, okay, we're going to take these things, but they're not going to be in Swift core, so they're not going to be subject to Swift core's release schedule. That's what I'm saying.
So no Keystone rewrite this time, please?
Sure.
We have to do this. Can you?
That sounds. I'm not sure.
Did you say that authentication was one of the things that was going to be split out?
Yes.
We need time.
It currently is a middleware.
And when's
Yeah,
that?
I know, but I mean, it's still. So OpenStack will not, without third-party components, support authentication for Swift. That sounds special.
And there is no maintainer for it.
Not right now.
I mean, that lights all kinds of alarms in my head.
I think we're stunned into silence.
I think it was going to be the Swift,
when did
the
this
Swift
come up?
code, not the Keystone integration that was going on.
I'm not absolutely positive that the Keystone middleware is going out too, but I expect it to. Because he wants all of the non-core stuff and all of the off plugins and stuff that he sees as non-core. So that would be, it would move in just like the Swift stats, all the other stuff is non-core.
It's like they're trying to sneak out of Openstack piece by piece.
That's something that's been implemented by the PCB already?
It's not really up to the PPB to say what goes into core and what doesn't in a project. So we validated the idea of supporting third-party plugins as much as possible.
Yeah, that's,
But we need to have core functionality and
I mean, this was like, yeah, my plane is going to fly without a wing, kind of architectural decision. Right? Let's put the wing, let's outsource the wings to somebody else, but let's build a plane.
Hopefully they'll bolt them on before we take off, otherwise we're horrible thing for that.
well, I'll talk to them again.
So I think one of the other questions that was asked from over there was, when's this actually happening? Is it happening now? Is it happening Folsom?
Yes.
So,
As in
They're doing it now.
1.5.0. Also, next release. I didn't think they would rip out the essential parts. I know
Well, it's
they
kind
want to
of-
get rid of all the optional parts.
It depends on how you define essential. I don't think that Keystone integration in their mind is essential. So
In their mind.
in their mind, yeah.
But from the OpenStack.
From the OpenStack it is, and so we need to figure out a way for that to exist. But I don't know where that goes. I mean, it may be that we maintain the middleware in Keystone. We used to do that. Swift forks. Swift gets forked. I mean, that's one possibility. It doesn't sound like a very nice thing to do.
how can
It sounds like that's that forks would
trigger discussion with us?
Well, there could be a good rationale for considering that the essential functionality that gets split out of Swift gets its own project. I mean, they're free to split code, but I would say that like Nick said, the essential functionality should be core.
Have a maintainer.
Because if you cannot basically exercise your integration tests without it,
Well, we have CI tests on it, so it's going to be somewhere.
We don't
somewhere in core.
we don't have integration tests.
We should. I mean,
For some reason, Swift ETL never asked that they be turned on.
So DevStack supports a Swift install, so we can actually turn on some git tests on Swift, at least giving it to other projects. So yeah, we should probably discuss what with John, what is actually he's planning on pulling out. Because I've been assuming that he's planning on pulling out Keystone middleware, but he may not be.
Well, it's valid to say that it would get shipped in some other project. My concern is that you should have something usable just using the core project.
I agree.
And everything else can be optional, but if you cannot run with a reasonable expectation of scenery software just by using the core project, you have a problem, and I think that's the PPB's prerogative to ensure that they don't do crazy things with their that at least OpenStack as a whole is protected from Swift presence.
That's a change that is apparently not been discussed at PPB, but I'm not part of the PPB, so and it has not been discussed on the OpenStack anyways. I don't know if it has been discussed.
There is a blueprint.
Actually, we've been having PPB meetings about
It's probably been discussed.
So it's been being discussed.
I do. Okay.
What we decided as the PPB is that it's important for the projects to support third-party integration, and that we want to allow that to be there, so that part's fine. But there's certain
It's not a third party. I mean, if you say this sentence, it means that Swift is a third party to OpenStack.
No, what he's saying is
No.
we will support plugin and encourage plugins, but if that's core functionality that is removed, it could be delivered as a plugin, but it needs to be a core thing.
We haven't covered the idea of something that's not in the same repo, but that we still deliver as part of the core. So we can figure out where that.
To me, that's called a project split. It could be delivered under a plugin form and be pluggable into
So you have like
Swift, but
Openstack
it still needs to be a
integration
core
project.
I mean, we still need to be able to control where it goes and to what is it on schedule and to integrate it with all the integration testing. We shouldn't rely on non-core pieces or non-official projects to gate our trunks. That's basically what we decided last time. But we could push it to the next PPD meeting next week. Make sure that they don't rip too much out where we are not looking.
Anything else?
Do you really want to ask?
If not, thanks for coming.